Is there any doubt as to whether or not there's a deep state manipulating things behind the scenes? I'm about to share a very personal story that not only demonstrates that the deep state is real, but also shows how they operate and explains why you lost so much money in 2008 and why it could happen again. Let's think back to January 2011 and the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission. They officially released their final report on the causes of the financial and economic crisis in the United States. This Blue Ribbon Commission, appointed by Congress, was about to tell us why our economy was in shambles. Unemployment was over 10%, and investors lost a combined $50 trillion. They published a really nice, thick book. The only problem? It disagreed with itself. There was one Democrat-inspired majority report and two Republican versions. The Democrats blamed George W. Bush and a loose regulatory environment. The Republicans, they blamed the Community Reinvestment Act and the fact that people got loans who shouldn't have gotten loans because they couldn't really afford a house. Basically, these two halves of the commission, Republican and Democrat, got into a partisan bickering right at the end, and the commission completely fell apart. I think the best summary of what happened came from Commissioner Peter Wallison, who wrote that the Commission's majority report ignores hypotheses about the causes of the financial crisis that any objective investigation would have considered, while it focused solely on theories that have political currency but far less plausibility. Let me break that down for you. In other words, the political class, he calls them, the deep state, spent millions of dollars, your taxpayer money, producing a snow job report to keep you in the dark. They didn't want you to know the truth of what actually happened, and they don't want you to know what could happen next that could ruin you financially. Join me in the Economic War Room, and I'll explain what happened in the financial crisis and what may be coming next. Do you even remember the financial crisis that took place a decade ago? Think back. Bush was in the White House. Barack Obama was a junior senator from Illinois, and America was in a housing bubble. Oil prices were moving steadily higher, and they hit $150 a barrel in the summer of 2008. That put gas prices over $5 per gallon. The economy seemed pretty good. Stocks were near all-time highs. Then all of a sudden, there was a mass panic. As late as September 10th, 2008, things seemed okay. Believe it or not, John McCain was leading in the polls to be our next president with Sarah Palin at his side. But on September 11th, 2008, things changed dramatically. Lehman Brothers went bankrupt within a week, and bank after bank failed. Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Wachovia, Washington Mutual all sought bailouts or capital infusions. We went from boom to bust in a matter of weeks. People lost their jobs and saw their savings wiped out. There was talk of a new depression with panic in the streets. It was in this environment that America said, enough. The electorate rejected Republicans and swept Barack Obama into the White House, along with the Democrat House and Senate. This was the most sweeping political change in decades and gave us Obamacare, the greatest increase in regulations in history, a massive tax increase, and a complete restructuring of our economy and foreign policy that then favored Iran. We sent huge piles of actual cash to Iran as part of a $150 billion payoff. America changed in three fundamental ways. First, the economy changed as we moved from free enterprise to socialism light, with environmental concerns becoming preeminent. Second, American culture changed. President Obama led the way for gay marriage and marriage equality, the focus on transgender rights, the acceptability of marijuana, and the change in religious habits of Americans. Finally, he changed our foreign policy from one of America first to the idea that America must necessarily decline in an increasingly multipolar world. These are facts. And another fact is that it was the economic crisis that gave us Barack Obama as president. That's not an opinion. That's what Joe Biden said at a speech in Arizona in 2013.
And the truth of the matter is, Barack knows, I know, Had the economy not collapsed around your ears, John, in the middle of literally just as things were moving, you at least would have